Hey everybody, it is Mr. George, and tonight we are going to read a story about Rose Brudno, who is a bar owner. This story appears in your student book on page 247, and this is from the books that we've been reading in class, Callings by David Isay. So this starts on page 247, and let's get started. Josh Gibbon, 33, talks with his grandmother, Rose Brudno, who's 85 years old, a bar owner. What were you doing in 1959? I was disliking my husband intensely, and I was dumping him. What I was really trying to do was find a way to support me and my 3 kids after I was divorced. So when I found this bar called the Zanzibar in Akron, I bought the place. When I took it over, the bar had all kinds of dirt and everything on the floor. But it was a corner bar in an important location, so I felt like it would be a good place for me to make a living. I didn't realize it, but the nickname for the Zanzibar had been the Bucket of Blood, and it earned that title. It was just a rough place. I got rid of the bouncer, and I just told everybody, if you're going to fight, you have to be able to back up your fight, because I'm not going to break it up. I really can't stand drunks. My theory is you lose on them anyway, so I eliminated drunks every chance I could. I just wanted a guy to cash his paycheck, buy a round of drinks, and then go home and take care of his family. That's how I operated. The neighborhood was mostly rubber workers who were one of the better unions, and they had a decent standard of living. A lot of them owned their own homes. They had good paychecks, and they could support having a drink or two. But I had some guys who were irresponsible with their money, and I knew they had families to support. So I would give them a $20 bill to party, and I just took their checks and put them in the safe. So they would ask you to do that? No, I just did it. Sure, they'd get mad naturally. I mean, I'm doing a terrible thing. A guy works all week busting his butt, and someone has the audacity to take their money? They want to kill you. But then they would come in sheepishly later and get their paycheck and thank me, because I was the only barkeep in town who would do that. The Zanzibar was open from 5:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the morning, 21 hours, and I worked 12-hour days. How many customers are you going to get at 5:30 in the morning? Oh, lots, because at 6 o'clock they'd be coming off the graveyard shift, and they'd come in to eat breakfast. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, we'd be singing and dancing and drinking and eating. Our cook, Lil, was the best in town. I brought my daughter Mindy's dinner every night from Lil's cooking. You know, my dad had been an insurance man, but he had a heart condition. He was diabetic and he was arthritic. So he couldn't work much. And when he did, he couldn't hold up. He got involved with the Unemployed Council and he started helping unemployed workers when they were in trouble. Sometimes they would even stay at our house until they found a place to live and had the money to put up a month's rent to move. And I had deep respect for that. I tried to organize a union in the bar. I said, "Hey, I'm not supposed to do this. I'm the enemy. You guys got to organize." But they wouldn't, so that's how I developed profit sharing. We took all the pennies from the bar, and by March, we'd have about $800, $900 in the bank. Then we'd rent a big cottage for a month for the employees and their families to use for vacation in the summer. We also had monthly meetings with all the barmaids about what is our role as a barmaid? When do we serve a drink? When do we deny a drink? How much respect do you give a guy? And when do you say, "You can't be here anymore"? If a barmaid felt that she had to bar someone for stuff like making sexual innuendos, I never questioned it. I backed her all the way. I had the best barmaids in town. Other barkeeps would try to buy my barmaids off by giving them a higher wage, but nobody left me. It was unheard of to have barmaids that worked for you 10, 12 years, but my barmaids never left. I remember when I was 13 years old, my girlfriend broke up with me and I was completely heartbroken. My eyes were swollen from crying, and you gave me a mop and a bucket and put me to work. "Start with the kitchen floors, and when you're done with those, come back and I'll give you more." And it brought me down to earth. That's what it's always been like with you. You just told it like it was. People would say about you, "She's brazen and feisty, and she won't take shit from people." Crazy Rose, they called you. The guys used to say, "She's nuts," you know, but I experienced total support from the clientele. Eventually, the Zanzibar was designated for urban renewal, so I knew that it only had so much life left, and people were moving away from that area, and I was losing business. Plus, my back, just the stress of being on your feet all those hours. I had gotten so bad that my doctors said I had to quit. A couple of years later, it was emptied out. So that was that. But you know, the period of the Zanzibar, those were the best years of my life. I had a wonderful relationship with the community at the bar. I knew their kids. I knew their parents. We had a ball. This dialogue was recorded in Akron, Ohio on September 2nd, 2009. Rose Brudno passed away on June 29th, 2011.